What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the show. I hope you all are having a great Thursday evening. I know that I am. Today, a little bit late to this topic, but I wanted to talk about Bryce Underwood this weekend making his very highly anticipated debut against New Mexico. Again, this was a game that was very looked over. Again, it's against New Mexico. Nobody really gives a shit. But I did want to talk about how he played in his first real game. And again, as an Ohio State fan, I love to hate, but I will give you a little spoiler. My thoughts are very optimistic. I thought he looked great. But before I get into this, I wanted to touch on something that I found interesting when I was thinking about Underwood and a lot of other guys that have come recently into the college football realm. I feel like, and correct me if I'm wrong, I'm sure there's maybe some exceptions to this, or maybe I'm just wrong, but it feels like recently there's been a resurgence of, or not really, I guess more surgence rather than resurgence, of freshmen, of freshman studs, because I don't know about you guys, but it feels like in years past, it's always felt like freshmen have been, if you're a freshman, it's like, people are excited that you're there. They're excited that you're going to get developed and you'll eventually become a starter one day, your sophomore, junior year. But recently in the NCAA, again, maybe this is just recency bias with obviously Bryce Underwood, Jeremiah Smith, Ryan Williams, blah, blah, blah. But it feels like true, or Dylan Raiola, sorry, also him. But it feels like nowadays, even if you're a true freshman coming into a big school like Michigan or Ohio State or Nebraska, it feels like it's the same as getting a junior out of the transfer portal. I think that it's really been interesting to see how much true freshmen have been starting and making an impact recently and becoming stars. It's honestly incredible, and hey, I'm here for it because it's better than having to wait 3 fucking years for somebody to go start and finally start making a difference. But see, that's what I've just found that interesting recently, how freshmen have become so much more of a valuable asset to teams now. And obviously I understand that when I talk about Jeremiah Smith and Bryce Underwood, I obviously understand these guys are literally the top of their class. Like, obviously these are exceptions and most true freshmen don't play. But I feel like, again, correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like even in years past, even these top recruits would still sit their freshman year or redshirt. But anyways, just something I found fun. So obviously, this was Bryce Underwood's stat line from this weekend. It was 21 for 31, 251 yards, and 1 touchdown. And now, again, a game against New Mexico, I'm not going to sit here and gander all over his fucking stat line all day, because you could put whoever the hell out on that field, and they could probably drop a pretty similar stat line to Bryce Underwood. But what I will want to say is a lot of people, again, even like I just did, will discredit that because of the opponent. But honestly, I think for a true freshman making your first start, honestly, to throw a game where you make minimal mistakes and play pretty smartly is a win. I mean, it doesn't really matter who you're playing. If you're a young, raw quarterback, it's very common you're going to go in there, you're going to make a few mistakes. And Underwood played a clean-ass game. So listen, say what you want. Sure, the stat line isn't historic, obviously, especially against a G5 team like New Mexico. But honestly, dude, to come in your first game, such high expectations playing for a huge program like Michigan, and you go there and you play a clean game, don't turn the ball over. I mean, come on, that's something to be proud of. But so now the more in-depth things that are, I guess, more telling about him that I wanted to touch on. Specifically about his arm. One of the things I noticed, I didn't watch the entire game, but I watched pretty much all the highlights, condensed game, and all of his throws. What I noticed that was really funny to me, that this guy has a hell of a fucking arm, but it's not the traditional type where you think of somebody who has an arm who can throw the ball 50 fucking yards. I mean, and I'm sure he can. Listen to me. He's the number one high school football player in the nation. I'm sure he can throw it pretty damn far. But it wasn't necessarily about how far he was throwing it. It was the speed he had on these balls. It was, if you watch his throws from the game, it's so insane, especially for a freshman quarterback. He was throwing fucking missiles out there. I mean, that arm speed was insane. And also, to build off of this, what really impressed me, again, this relates to that arm speed, that really makes me feel like even as a freshman, he could be pro-ready tomorrow, is his quick draw, I guess, is what I would refer to it as. It is. I mean, if you watch this game, and again, remember, he's playing for Michigan. He's playing for a powerhouse team against New Mexico. His O-line, I'm not sure how particularly good the O-line played, but I know damn well they weren't having any trouble keeping the Lobos out of the backfield. And even then, he was getting the ball off in less than every time, just snap, throw, snap, throw, snap, throw. I mean, he was getting that ball out like a freaking laser, almost like less than 2 seconds after every single pass. And it's funny, again, his completion percentage wasn't perfect, but again, if you go back and watch this game, most of his incompletions were dropped by the receivers because he threw them too fast. I mean, that is really impressive. And I think, especially if you're an NFL scout, again, he's a freshman, he still has literally 3 years. So again, it's nothing, maybe you're not looking at it right now, but I think what's really going to help him, especially when he gets to the end of his career at Michigan and he starts to look at, and NFL scouts start to look at him, is that instinct. He has that vision, that pro instinct, that pro vision. It's honestly incredible. It's beautiful to watch. It doesn't feel like you're watching a freshman quarterback. It looks like you're watching a journeyman who transferred into Michigan. It's truly incredible. Honestly, I was very impressed with that. Even as an Ohio State fan, to sit here and glaze this dude all day, I mean, I'm sorry. The kid has an insane arm. It would be sacrilegious to sit here and deny it. But anyways, I'm excited for this week. All right, so that's his first real test this week against Oklahoma. I'm not too particularly updated on how good Oklahoma's defense is, but again, either way, Oklahoma's still a top 25 team. Obviously, a big Power 5 powerhouse school. So it's going to be still a huge. I believe it's on the road too, so that might be a huge road test too. I'm very excited for this game. And I think this is where we're going to see his true colors. But overall, I thought he played great. And again, just to reiterate what I said earlier, a lot of people will sit here and try to discredit the way he played because of the opponent. But again, as a freshman coming in, playing a clean game, making good throws, showing true pro talent, dude, I don't care who you're playing. I don't care if you're playing Ohio State or if you're playing Kent State, dude. Listen, to go out there as a freshman, as 18, 19-year-old, and show pro potential and show like you could literally face any defense and just pick that defense apart and look like you could play in the NFL tomorrow, come on, you can't deny that. But anyways, that's pretty much it for today's episode, guys. Another pretty short one. I appreciate you guys sticking with me here. I appreciate you guys tuning in. I hope you guys have a great day. Have a great weekend. I'll see you guys later. Peace.